Hello! Apparently this is all I have the energy for, so I'm gonna try just doing a bit of a lightning round of some things I appreciated from the animation culture this year. I am not doing things in the order that they came out, nor in the order of popularity. I am doing things that I saw that came out this year that I really appreciated. Link Click Season 2 was definitely the most anticipated this year for me. I watched the first season last year and it ended on a crazy cliffhanger, so I was ecstatic when this finally got released. The show is really complicated, so I feel like I need to watch this season again to actually give my proper thoughts on it, but I can give you my initial thoughts. I definitely thought it was worth watching and I enjoyed it. Like with the previous season, it tends to end almost every episode on a really intense cliffhanger. Unlike the previous season, it's a lot more focused on the main plot. I thought the twist with Li Tanxi being actually Li Tanxian in disguise was really good. I absolutely did not see that coming and it was really smart. I can appreciate both of their backstories. I think the previous season had more of those wonderful, genuine, heart-wrenching moments, but we do get some here that are good. To my relief, it doesn't end on a crazy cliffhanger like last time, but it does end with you asking a very pressing question. I was pretty exhausted to see all the criticism and kind of hate this series was getting, this season. I was just super pumped and really enjoying it, and I felt like a lot of the people on Reddit were killing my vibe, but I guess that's on me for spending too much time there. I am one of those persons who does not watch Demon Slayer solely for the crazy fights and animation. I mainly watch it for the beautiful storytelling and characters. So I actually don't have a lot to complain about with the fights, although I know they weren't as good as last season and they're shorter, but we really get to know characters like Genya and Muichiro, and I really enjoyed this. We also have one of the most beautiful moments in this series so far, or maybe I'm just hyped on it, but the part with Nezuko finally being able to resist the sun and Tanjiro just seeing that she's alive. The villains definitely aren't nearly as good as previous ones, but I did like some of Hantengu, and it's not that I didn't enjoy watching them, it's just, they're not nearly as in-depth or as interesting. But was I disappointed by this season? No, absolutely not. It was awesome. Lego Monkey Kids Season 4 was awesome. Maybe not quite as scary as last season, but it was even more interesting with character development for MK. For other characters too, surprisingly even Wukong and Macaque. This show is so much better than perhaps it needs to be, because I'm pretty sure it exists to sell toys, but the amount of depth that goes into the character relationships and the excellent animation, it's just such good quality, and you genuinely care about the show and can't wait to see what happens next. And it doesn't pull its punches with its themes and the discussions it's bringing up. But anyways, this season was really good. I loved MK's development. The villain was more sympathetic than the villain from last season, I think. But he wasn't bad. I liked him. We get maybe some of the best fights so far, and one of the best things is that maybe Wukong is finally starting to significantly grow and change. Anyways, it was good. So next up is Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at saying the name. I'm not sure if it's entirely finished releasing or not, but I saw pretty much all of what's out right now. This was also my first introduction to the series. No, I didn't watch Season 2 first, but I watched Season 1 and 2 this year. It took me a long time to finally try this series. I think it's harder for me to try really popular things because everybody's telling me to watch it and then I feel pressured. But I'm glad I gave this a shot because it was really good. I was surprised at how much I loved the main character, Yuji. But as for my thoughts on Season 2, I really liked it. It was awesome. I will say I thought Geito's character development was super rushed and it didn't show enough for me to fully buy his change from good guy into worst bad guy ever. I can almost see it, and it's still really sad what happened, and even if I didn't fully understand Geito, I think I did really understand Gojo, and that added some much needed depth to his character. I like him a lot more now. Man, I have been sleeping on Scissor 7 for too long. Same with Jujutsu Kaisen. I watched all of this series this year. I actually watched it all in 2 days. At first I thought it was too weird. It was kind of like, what the hell am I watching? But after the first few episodes being kind of dumb, and then if you can get past some things that are just really unusual, the show is super entertaining and super intense. It's also very silly because it's half comedy but I think they do a decent job at least with making these two really different worlds in the show collide. And I think overall season 4 was more of a serious season compared to like maybe some of the earliest seasons. There were some episodes that felt like filler, not most of them, just a few. But even though they seem to be saving our main character Seven's past and full backstory for next season, I really like the backstories we get for Hui Lian and Red Tooth and Green Phoenix especially. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love Green Phoenix. My frustration, the season ends where I don't even know if he's alive or not, and clearly it's not the end of the story, but yeah, I'm really excited that I got into this show. I feel like not very many people are talking about the Tokyo Mew Mew reboot, but anyways, if you like the series at all, or if you like magical girls, I highly recommend it. This year they had a second and final season, which I super enjoyed. I've also read the manga, and I really think that Tokyo Mew Mew New is honestly much better than the manga. Like, I like the manga, I have all the volumes, but the pacing in it is kind of awful. But anyways, even though the pacing in Tokyo Mew Mew New is a lot better, like a lot better than the manga, unfortunately close to the end of the season, like basically the very last episode, I feel like we have a similar issue where there just isn't enough time to put everything in, and it feels a lot condensed. That said, this was still a treat. I feel like we know each character a lot better in here than we do in the manga. It's still fascinating to me how heartbreaking it is to watch a creep like Kish die, but I guess that's because there's a little bit more to him than that, so that's good character writing. And the ending in the manga was so confusing that I'm glad they made some massive changes to it. However, the ending is still a little bit confusing, but I can understand based on what you had to work with. It's definitely one of the better reboots out there. This is probably a series that you've never heard of, and I found it completely by accident. Saving Me is BYU TV's first attempt at an animated series. I'm just gonna get one thing out of the way for a second. I am definitely not Mormon. But even though this show is apparently made by Mormons, it's not like about Mormonism, and I'm just really happy to see like a quality kids show that actually is funny and it has a unique premise. The premise being a selfish old man who is a tech billionaire from the future learns to mentally project his current self to his 11-year-old self to hopefully prevent himself from becoming like he is now. A lot of episodes are just kind of really run-of-the-mill, but most of them are pretty fun. Like, if I was a kid, you better be giving me a good time if you're gonna be giving me morals. For heaven's sake, make the morals interesting. Thankfully, I think they usually are. Sometimes it is pretty compelling, such as when the two of them get into arguments over revealing the future, or when the 11-year-old is trying to badger the 65-year-old into telling him what he did that was so bad. Anyways, season 2 of this show came out this year. I enjoyed watching it with my siblings a lot, and I especially liked the last episode. That had a lot of really cool twists that I didn't see coming. Trigun Stampede also came out this year, and I have it to thank for getting me into Trigun as a whole. I watched Stampede, I watched the OG anime, and I read the entire manga. It was so cool to find a series that is so symbolic and beautiful. When I first watched Stampede in the summer, I didn't love it, although I did really appreciate it, but I appreciate it a lot more now that I know Trigun as a whole. Stampede is a lot darker than the original anime right from the get-go, and the silly humor isn't really there so much like it was before. Vash's voice actor reprises his role really well. The animation is breathtaking. They put a lot of time and effort into this. I found the dialogue to be surprisingly bold for something to come out in 2023, but I love that. Even though I enjoyed the original anime a little bit more, I also can recognize that Stampede is overall better quality. There's a few instances where I prefer the pacing of the old one. For example, in the old one, we don't find out about Wolfwood working for knives until like the episode where he dies or the episode before. And in Stampede, we find out about that almost instantly, so it maybe makes us kind of dislike Wolfwood instead of love him at the beginning. I'm glad that we'll apparently get to see Millie next season, and I'm also just really thankful to Stampede for introducing me to Trigun. Unfortunately, I am just one person and I can't watch everything, but I hope you enjoyed my lightning round here, and I'd like to ask, what was your highlight, or what were your highlights of this year? Whether it be in animation or just shows in general, and is there anything still coming out this year that you're really looking forward to? I know I'm really looking forward to the Knuckles series and the next season of Spy Family. I'm also really curious to try the Shy anime and Pluto. Feel free to let me know your picks in the comments below. Thank you so much for listening. You have a great one. Bye now.